So if you're looking to start winemaking and are not quite sure where you need to go or what supplies you need to get, this is the list of things that you absolutely need to get started. Maybe a little bit of optional equipment, but not much. So the first thing you're going to need is somewhere to ferment all your ingredients, and that's going to be into a primary fermenter. That consists of a 6-gallon pail. You're going to need a bung on the top, and you're also going to need an airlock. And that just makes sure that everything that's going on inside that fermenter is sealed. Once it's done in the primary, you're going to go to a secondary fermenter, which is a Carboy, and that's going to be a 5-gallon. But you're going to need some way to get it inside that little Carboy or that small little top. And the way you're going to do that is with a siphon. Now, I recommend getting the auto siphon because it's just going to make your life a whole heck of a lot easier starting that siphon, and they're cheap. Like, it doesn't cost you much. All the stuff that you see here shouldn't cost you more than $150. Once stuff is sitting inside of the Carboy, that's going to stay there until secondary fermentation is complete. And then you're also going to need a way to clean that thing out after you're done using it. Enter the bristle brush. And of course, one of the first things that you're going to learn when you're making any kind of wines is that you're going to have to sanitize absolutely everything. Now, right now you see I've got sodium metabisulfite. It's a cheap sanitizer. I strongly urge you guys to use Star San. I've seen a lot of videos of guys using it, and it just seems like a way better experience. Yeah, this stuff leaves me really short of breath, so go with the Star San. You also need Camden tablets if you're planning on storing any of your wine bottles for any longer than like 3 months, or if you're making homebrew, but that's a whole nother thing. This is intended for the kit wine starter, but yeah, you'll need some kind of Camden tablets. There's 2 varieties. There's the sodium metabisulfite, and I think the other one's potassium. Go with the potassium if you have a choice, but it's not the end-all be-all. Now, here's some just generic supplies that you're going to find you're going to end up needing. One is a stirring spoon. This just makes sure that all the ingredients inside the primary fermenter, once you have it going in there, or once you have it in secondary, then you need to degas or off gas. You need something to do so. Small end fits inside the Carboy end, and the big side, the spoon side, is for your primary fermentation. Of course, you got to measure everything to see where your wine is and what state it's in. So some kind of a graduated cylinder like this is an easy place for you guys to park the hydrometer, and that'll let you easily get the readings of where your wine is currently at, so you know what stage your stuff is in. And then finally, when you're done making all your wine, you're going to need to bottle it. So you're going to need 2 things. You're going to need bottles, you're going to need corks. Actually, several things, I guess. You'll need bottles, corks, some kind of a corker. The model I'm showing you here is the Handheld corker, which is a cheaper one to go with if you're just starting this or just want to play with it and see if you want to stick to it. I do recommend the floor stand corker. I found a used one for about the same price as the Handheld corker. And I must say the floor stand unit is a charm and a breeze to work with. You'll also need this little thing which goes onto your siphon at the end. And it's just a bottle filler with a little automated valve that you can kind of see on the bottom. And how that works is if you push up on this guy, or if it's at the bottom of the bottle, your wine will flow. If you pull it up, it shuts off the little valve. So it's an easy way to rack or fill your bottles, I should say, without having to worry about stopping the flow in between or pinching the flow off somehow. Now, optional equipment, I would say, is probably a wine thief. These are cheap, and it's a nice, easy way to quickly grab a sample out of any of your stages and just kind of see what's going on without having to pour or get a cup or something. You sanitize this, pull a sample out, close your Carboy or your primary back up, and you can steal and kind of see the progress of where your wine is. Oh, and before I get into any elaborate wine making techniques or show you guys what I do for fruit wines and stuff, if you guys have the questions of how do you use all these things, I will put videos on the channels. It'll be listed in a playlist called My Methods. And that's going to just show you quickly how to use every one of the tools that you've seen here and get you guys started with winemaking. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're probably brand new to the whole winemaking thing. I also am pretty brand new to the winemaking thing, and I bought a lot of extra stuff you didn't need, and that's why I made this video. Hopefully it saves somebody else on some costs. One final piece of advice: if you're starting out, the temptation for me was to go with fruit first, and that's kind of why I started. What I really should have done is I should have done the kit as my very first wine project. They're just a million times easier, and they let you familiarize yourself with kind of the process of how everything goes. So it's a really nice entryway into going into winemaking. I will go through the whole process of what it looks like to make wine from a kit. So if you're a little curious on that before you pull the trigger and buy the supplies that you need, I will leave that video on the side. And any of these supplies that I've listed here, I'll source them for you. I'll find them on Amazon. I'll do my best to get you guys a good price, get a good kit, and I'll leave that down in the description.